Hello and welcome to this week 2 matchup between A Team and Captors. We've got a hell of a game tonight on Transili OLTP and Willow are our maps. Full squads coming in, and joining me in the commentary box is iTag. How you doing, iTag?
Not bad, thank you. Yeah, looking forward to this matchup. It's his first versus third coming into this week. A team had a strong showing against Pinksmen week 1, and Captors taking the cake, I guess. Against Nugas in Paris as well. So both teams starting strong.
Yeah, and obviously becomes a very, very important game because of that for the early standings. And realistically, two of the stronger teams. I mean, Cap 22s have gone on a bit of a streak. I think they're sitting in first place at the moment, but realistically, either of these teams can take that first spot away from them with a couple of wins tonight. And yeah, some star teams. So really looking forward to the game, and I think it'll be an absolute cracker. A and Diggs were just wreaking havoc last week in their game, and realistically, Captors had to fight a little bit more against Nugas in Paris last week, but ended up on top and being the better team in that week. So yeah, shaping up to be quite the spectacle. Have you got any leaning any way, iTag? Got any insights into this week's result?
I think personally I'd have to back the A team just because their offense should be able to really get past Vin and Doku as a pairing, especially A and Diggs. They've found a lot of synergy, as you said, in week 1. I think they'll be able to get past them with relative ease. But Vex and J on OD, I reckon it'll be a solid combo, something to watch out for. They stopped a lot of caps last week from NIP, so keep an eye out for their OD. What do you think, Elf? You leaning one way or the other?
Sorry, having some technical difficulties.
Oh.
Well, if you ask me a question, I didn't hear it at all, but we are ready to go into game. Sorry, we'll get to that question in a second. Are ready to go into game here. Both teams are ready, so we're starting up. And yeah, I think I did hear the start of what you were saying. I think I agree that the A's team probably looking like the stronger team coming into this, but as we've seen already this season and in every other season, form coming into a game and favorites mean absolutely nothing. Last week A's team were not tipped against Pink's men and ended up absolutely dominating that match. So not to write either of these teams off, should be a cracking game.
Yeah.
Got JL timing that bomb in the top corner initially. Both teams looking for an early grab. I think I was relatively impressed with Dokugan's play, for as much as we mentioned that Vin and Doku might struggle against this A Diggs combo and O. I was impressed with both of their defensive duties last week. Obviously, they do have a bunch of players that can swap roles as well, which definitely helps, as we see A getting out and ahead of 2, and Vex just clutches in with an absolutely brilliant grab from Vex in the end, getting out as well with a nice combo off the bomb, and no return coming on Diggs, smartly staying alive, and Dokugan running off that button, unfortunately, is going to give Diggs yet another opportunity for the A team, but can't make much of it just yet. Dokugan, though, does get beaten on that juke there, and some early pressure for the A team.
Yeah, Diggs had a really good chance to cap there. Just with the boost going into gate and just let Captors catch back up.
And a tag pro for Black will probably stop any hope of a second cap, or a first cap rather. JL with this RB looking to do something with it. Pat looking for that double tap, and JL's backtracking smartly, almost gives himself up, but does get away, and some nice help from his teammates as well, looking for A to stay alive here, and does. Transilo is a map where you can sort of be patient and bait defenders in towards you before making your decision. There's not much punishment through the middle of the map at all, unlike some other maps. So you'll see the offenders use that very well. As we see Vex in the return for cap situation, Diggs required to stay alive, and does.
Smart flag holding early on. Really good work from Diggs and Jay. as you're saying, baiting out the defenders into the position where they want them to go before they make their move.
Yeah, hopefully A can bait JL into making a move here. Probably not going to need it with
Ooh.
some lovely blocks from Pat in the end. And a little 2v1, a little unfair on J. Got caught. And I wasn't impressed there with both Dokugan and I can't remember who else was spawning, but Dokugan rushed over to the right boost as A was coming out there initially. JL stopping that with some nice OD. But yeah, you really can't afford to be having two defenders rush back. You can really only have one rush back. And have three ahead. As soon as you let them have 2-on-2 up front, becomes very problematic. And for that first cap, it was 2v1 for the A team, the advantage. So that leads to the first cap. Unfortunate for the Captors in a game that started very electrically so far. Vin closing A down well and looking for a complete reset here. J probably not so confident on D, just not very strong with his push, but they do manage to fumble into the return in the end. Third round of pups coming up. Looks like everyone's just delaying for the pups.
Nice bomb from Vex.
Yeah, how good was that?
Mm.
Timed it perfectly. A winning that tag throw in the middle, though, is going to be crucial for them. Let's see what they can do with this little Mulberry. And Vex, again, putting that juice to great use. Yeah, on top of things. Really well done.
Nice little 20-second passage from him there.
And avoids the tag pro yet again off the grab. And Vin comes in for an easy return there. Vex is killing it on defense. Doing really well. Jay and Dokugan looking to make their way out. A and Diggs will try to do the same on the other end after the failed attempt from the Captors. And A shows them how to do it. Indeed, he's going to get a second cap. And the anti on Diggs probably wasn't strong enough, but doesn't look like he's going to be able to make much of this as they'll shut him down. But second cap for A's team. Second cap for A, I believe, as well.
Yeah, it was a lovely push from Pat to deny, I think it was Jay that was waiting on the top boost in mid. Pat pushes him into the spike, and gives A some clear air running into base.
Yeah, A deciding to go flag pro off this grab. Couldn't get the RB into position, and a little bump. That's very unfortunate for the Captors. Little bump just killed their FC there. And 3 caps. Could be looking for 4 as Diggs streaming in and trying to work with his blocks, but not forthcoming. A's team definitely showing their class so far. 3-0 up, about halfway through the game. And A looking to loop back and hopefully bait the defenders a little bit further across the map. Let's see how they play this. They did make a mistake earlier for the first cap. Vex is sitting a little more passively, and I like that from Dokugan as well. Knew that he could take the team boost back. A onto the bomb, but really 3 ahead. Shouldn't be creating much. Vex indeed is going to equalize the position and get out. Jay took away his boost, but not really under pressure is Vexation. And Dokugan blocking for A. They did play together for a fair few seasons. Unfortunately, not this season. So that's not the play Dokugan's really after. But tag pro lead for Diggs is not going to be put into good use because the snipe from Dokugan was nice and the positioning from Dokugan once again was nice, but Vex really needs to make some magic happen and he's brought it all the way back to base, looking for some blocks on Balakwa, and then a split is probably what he was going for there, but couldn't make it work. And Elameo yet again coming in for his potential 4th cap. And looks like he's going to get it. Wow.
Yeah, I think someone died on defense there. Not exactly sure who it was for the Captors. And then with Vex respawning, they got that instant grab past 2. And I'm pretty sure they got past 3 not long after with the positioning from, I think it might have been Doku in base. Couldn't get to a boost in time to get himself ahead. It's just smart from the A team with that. Oh.
So often it just seems they're able to get out and ahead of the base. Like in that situation, Vin and Doku really committing towards defusing the bomb, but committing 2 of you to that is really not the way to do it. You're better off just seeding that and playing for the position, as Dokugan is going to unfortunately bomb into Pat there. And 5-0 is looking like quite the whitewash early on in this first half, but definitely some severe mistakes coming through from the Captors, in particular on defense, but certainly their timing of their grabs has been absolutely horrid as well. Pat sneaking away, skin of his teeth there. And Dokugan looking to close him down, pushes perhaps a little too far with Jay there. They still have 2 on OD, and Vex is going to bomb, unfortunately, straight into Balakwa. Pat can't make the same move that he did 20 seconds ago to escape the base yet again. A does have a boost onto the bomb, chooses not to use it, and instead is just going to try and control for pups and for time. Dokugan boosting backwards and taking out both boosts, but he's put himself in a good position to try and pressure A here. Nothing wrong with that so far, and does gets a free return. ITAG as the resident offender in the stream. What was A thinking there? Did you see that?
Well, Diggs had the RB on Re, so it was just a simple handoff there. I guess as a flag carrier, you don't normally want to give it up for free because you always want to get a cap. But realizing that Diggs was in a powerful position, the RB Re, and A just decided to give it up. Very selfless offensive move there.
Yeah, which we've come to see a little bit more of from ALMO, which is good. Developing as a player, certainly, in the last few seasons.
Bit
of maturity from the man. Oh, Jay and Vex just not working well with his partner. A and Diggs are working perfectly fine together as A is out yet again and looking to bait that boost, but Dokugan was more than up to it.
Diggs.
Wow.
Nice grab.
It's the pup control from A's team as well. It seems like they've had almost all the tag pros, whether that's fortunate or just complete pup control. I'm not sure. I can't bring the stats up myself, but I'm sure Acti will be able to on stream.
It's got to be something to do with A. I swear, every time his team just always gets tag pros when it comes to pups. I don't know. He might have paid off lucky. I'm not entirely sure. We'll have to follow him up on that one.
We'll get the inside scoop if we can. Jay with a nice bomb in, and Pat played that well, covering both the button and the gate. If Jay was to juke back, just a minute remaining, and we have stabilized. Now it is still 5-0, but Captors not really threatening too much. I think they've realistically only had one great opportunity. That was Vex very early on, and Vex is almost out of position for that. Dokugan does get ahead in the end, and just that contesting of pups. It seems like a lot of Ace Caps have come around this time, either immediately before or immediately after pups. Definitely an issue for the Captors.
I think it might just be catching the defenders out of position. Really good time to grab for A's team. And with their lovely coordination, Diggs and A, they're just able to make grabs like that happen. Lovely grab. Might be able to get out top here. Oh, lovely bomb.
Vex. Yeah.
Oh.
It's well done from Diggs to bait Vex, just one tile lower than he should have been, and was able to get out. But OD was up to it. Vex taking away that portal and forcing A's hand there on offense. Dokugan playing offense isn't able to make much happen. Vin and Vex now looking to try something in the last 3 seconds, and A just sitting on that gate, having a grand old time playing 3D. 5-0 is the final score for the first half, and complete and utter dominance, I think, would be the way to sum that half up. Any thoughts?
Yeah. Oh, it was just some lovely offensive work from Diggs and A, but the defensive end from Pat and Bell made it really hard for Vex and Jay to just get out of base and get a good regrab train going to try and establish some control over the match. Lovely teamwork all across the board. Yeah. Doku and Vin looking a little bit lackluster on defense with their positioning, but it's hard to try and reset yourself, which is what they did towards the back end of that half in the end. Able to stem the flow, I guess, of Caps.
Yeah, I think you'll find, and hopefully this is something that the Captors are able to put into place, that with the way that A and Diggs are playing, Captors really need to be playing a little more out of the base and not committing so hard towards the bomb and the portals and trying to set up with a different system. Even towards the end, when they did start to make some changes, there was still, I think it was Dokugan who was diffusing the portals in the bottom right, but Vin was only about, and the bomb from Diggs to get himself out straight onto the flag is not enough to kill himself, and he ended up almost getting a cap. He bombed through Vex. So it wasn't Vin, it was Vex, my apologies. he bombed top over Vex there, and just the defensive positioning in base needs to be a little more passive. You need to sort of accept that they're playing a bit better than you at the moment and change your positioning, because if you start to play so aggressive and so close to flag in a map like Transilio, essentially the choke is from the button to the boots, and that's where you need to play. If you start playing closer than that and you allow the offenders to get to the boost first or use the bombs in a way that you're not covering that well in base, then you're really just setting yourself up for failure. And obviously there are some mechanical issues that are going on. They're just not playing great prevent. They're losing their putt battles as well. But I think stylistically, just the defensive setup has not been good. And some of the errors they made, obviously, boosting and putting two behind at will, as opposed to it being any good work from a team. Dokugan boosting backwards while Vex was dead. To allow two ahead, those sorts of decisions we shouldn't be seeing in majors, and maybe nerves or lack of communication, lack of cohesion early on in the season. It is only week 2, but hoping to see some improvement. Hopefully they've started to identify some of the issues that we're seeing as well, and that they can work towards improving that, because Transilio is a relatively simple map in my opinion. It should be one where you can figure this sort of thing out relatively quickly,
Yeah, definitely. Hopefully we do see Captors bounce back this second half. Would like to see Jay and Vex get on the board with a couple of caps. Maybe it's just the red team advantage. Who knows? We'll find out.
Okay, let's set something straight. There is no red team advantage. There is a severe blue team advantage. But there's no red team advantage. You play on red, you should be losing.
Well, I guess the Captors were doing something terribly wrong last half.
With the stats as well, looks like A team had double the pups, and 6 of them were TPs, but I do question 6 of the 18 pups that A's team got were TPs, which is bang on average, exactly what we'd expect. But I do query the amount of tag pros that Captors got, because it didn't really feel like very many. And A team had double the hold, which definitely felt like that. As you said earlier, Pat and Balakov really had lockdown in their own base, and there's not a whole lot that Vex and Jay could do, because the flag was always out on their end as well. So
yeah,
errors on both sides from the Captors, but A team once again showing their class and looking good for it.
Loading into the second half. Let's get around it. Woo!
Three, two, one.
Another very standard start.
Should I unmute when I drink water for the ASMR purposes? I know Acti would probably agree with that. I wanted iTag's opinion.
Yeah, as an avid water drinker, I'm perfectly okay with that.
Good. All right, we'll work that into the next one. Couple of flacids early on, and this is a great opportunity here for Vex and Jay. They do craft it well.
Oh.
Never mind, take it back. Jay was on regrab though. He's able to get out with the help of the bomb, and Vin closing down A is going to give Jay an opportunity which he refuses to take. Instead wants to try and beat Balakwa yet again, and does, mind you. So all credit to Jay if he does make this work. Just wants to make him look silly. A playing anti on the other end, and Vex almost getting a little roll off grab there. But first round of pups coming up. Hope to see this be a little more even. Vex seeds the pup in favor of getting some pressure with this grab, and is going to try and beat A, who is boosted with that Duke Juice that he won for free. And wasn't to be. A's defense is really something to behold as well for an offender. Really solid on D. Jay smartly, well, if it was a decision, it was very smart to not boost into the gate and instead hit the 45-degree wall. Vex looking to use the gate himself, and a kill from Dokugan gives him a little bit of space, but the errors were the people in front of him, not the ones behind him. And A was able to shut that down with some nice OD.
Dig's almost getting out.
Yeah, they're really not handling those bombs very well in base, are they?
No, there's positioning errors. No one, like, when they do want to send someone to the portal to try and defuse it, they're sending more than one, which leaves them vulnerable outside of the base
Mm.
because there's no one left to cover this straight on. Another pop round though.
Yeah, and once again, Diggs winning that. Obviously, it was an RB, so no pain had. But Diggs winning that, if it was a Juke Juice or a Tag Pro 2v1, you really should be expecting better.
Nice bomb
Jay,
grab from Jay.
brilliant stuff to get out 2v1 and 3 in base in such a small choke on Transilio is rather difficult. Need to have some sort of combo with your team. He's looking for one with this boost. Probably had an angle straight up, just couldn't hit it. And A almost setting up a handoff for Diggs, wasn't to be.
A difference that like I'm noticing between the way that A team are playing OD compared to Captors. Captors seem very happy to push out and try and look for that return, where A team are just sitting back and waiting for the offender to come to them. And it just leaves them to play like very safe. They can play 3 OD, have 1 on anti, and then they'll like pretty much force a reset every time that person comes in and fails, because it's really hard to cap with 3 OD on this map.
Yeah, and that's partly due to the as we mentioned earlier in the halftime break, there's that choke that gets created from the button to the boost across that line. And realistically, playing OD, you don't need to push out any further than that. As long as you have 3 within that area, you should be able to cover almost everything. Vex with a nice shutdown there. And yeah, it feels like OD in almost any map should be played incredibly close to flag, but this is one of those maps where it's just that much more effective because of the nature and the structure of the map, and like we talked about, the choke that gets created within the base. And A's team playing OD very, very well, as
Nice
evidenced by
handoff.
their 0 caps conceded. However,
Ooh.
still nothing. And could go the other way now, as we have two of the Captors members just sitting in mid there, looking to contest that pup at the time and still getting across the base. Could have been scary, but defense holds up for this moment, and they have been a little bit better throughout this half. Vex and Jay getting in each other's way, and that RB diffused along with 4 on D is probably not going to be able to give them much joy. Dokugan coming in just a second too late. Probably not able to make much with this tag pro. Will be out in about a second.
Really sensible play from A team, just flooding their base, making it hard for Doku to make a decision on whether he like who to kill or what space to create for his other offender, and just giving the other offenders no room to get a nice clean grab in to get out of the base. Really smart.
Oftentimes you can play for the timer as well. Generally good defenders and good offenders really as well should be communicating that his tag pro is going to run out soon. So no real need to play as if he has the tag pro as a threat. It's much less of a threat because you know that it's going to be out very shortly. So yeah, A's team just really playing very, very solid. Both O and D. Doesn't seem to be too many weaknesses in this team at the moment throughout the season. A almost getting a grab with the RB intact. Instead has to use it in order to get out and won't. But still nothing being created on O. Might be something here in a 3v4 situation. Although Balakwa probably backs himself here. And A just sticking around as well, but wasn't really needed. Instead, he's going to go and grab the flag and get out yet again ahead of 3, all down to Vex, who plays it pretty well on OD there to save them from any more pain. Diggs and his fabled bomb, cutting it well, but probably looking a little worse for wear now as he gets bumped by A and just into the wrong position there, unfortunately. But well done from A's team still to maintain this control.
Another pop round. How many RBs this time? 2. Been getting out. Good chance for Captors for their first cap. Oh, not coming.
Instead, Diggs is looking to juke through the 2 of them. Jay covering well. A with a juke juice, always a scary sight. And when you spike yourself, just makes it that much worse. Vex did very well to stay alive, although it wasn't necessary in the end. Had some killer jukes there, and A couldn't find his way in. Pat has left yet again, or refreshed at the very least. Not sure what his go is. Hopefully we'll find that out in the mid break. Jay not able to get ahead of A and Diggs, and Pat was there after a longer respawn time to get the anti.
Looks like there's possible lag issues across both teams. not what you want in a game of competitive tag pro.
Has been a feature of our OLTP weeks recently, as far as I'm aware.
Either that or Discord issues. You can never have enough of them.
Winning that tag pro battle in the mid spikes, and then kissing the other tag pro, which I'm sure he'll be perfectly fine with. Just delays the effect that Vinsanity can have with that. And it probably will be out in a couple of seconds. And Dokugan goes for a grab before the tag pro was set up, and instead it's going to become A's opportunity, which Vin was positioned well with some great communication. But yet again, I said this a few minutes ago, unfortunately it's still the case. Nothing is being created. And don't know what Jay was doing there, trying to sort out his Discord perhaps. Just leading to no success. Jay has now jumped out, as has Pat. We'll try and find out what the issues these players are having are for you. No issues from Diggs in his play, however, with a lovely bomb combo, and Vex, obviously, 3 players on their team, not really able to do much. Although, when you got moves like that, maybe you can do whatever you want from Vex. Black winning a tag pro for free. With the RB, it's going to make things very, very difficult. And yeah, that makes it 7-0. No mercy so far from the A team, despite the 3v4. Pat boosting Balakwa and his tag pro into the base to make it 8-0. And don't really like to see this. It was a competitive second half for the most part, up until the JL disconnection. And looks like this is Jake is coming in to fill in for Jay. Obviously a recent trade from the Ballfathers for Headshot. Hopefully he can provide something in this final minute of this half for the Captors to look forward to in the next game if Jay can't sort his stuff out.
Yeah. This might just be a good time for Captors to try and mentally reset before this second half. Or before the second game, at least, on Willow. They'll look for just use this last 30 seconds to a minute just to mentally reset. Yeah, after possibly a bit of frustration due to the lag and whatnot.
No doubt on their end. Jake not playing that well, going for a little bit of a grab, which at 8-0 down, I'm sure he definitely is within his right to do, but with the flag out, not really great positioning for OD when you're behind the other side of the flag, the wrong side of the flag. Return in the end, keeps it at 9, keeps us away from double figures, but a rather disappointing end to the second half of what was a relatively competitive, as I said, first half of the second half, if that makes sense. A's team obviously maybe foot off the gas a little bit with their 5-0 lead from the first half, but certainly were matched well with the Captors throughout the second half until the JL disconnection.
Yeah. They were looking, a lot more solid that time, playing a lot more reserved on defense. They weren't as proactive on their search for returns. And it paid off. There were still opportunities for them, both teams, to cap at times throughout each half, but yeah, they should be proud of how they went in that second half. And hopefully we get to the bottom of this issue, which is plaguing both teams.
Obviously, just waiting, bit of an intermission at the moment. There's a few people seeing if they can sort out their ping. Balakwa having some comm issues as well, apparently, according to Pat, but not according to Balakwa. Maybe Pat's just asking for him to communicate a little bit more. It's a sneaky little dig from Pat. I respect that.
Uh, Pat might have gotten a little bit after he disconnected 3 times in that first half, and the team still went fine without him. Might just be giving him the hint that he might not be needed as much.
Yeah, maybe they could win 3v4 under these circumstances. Definitely some glaring issues in the Captors' play, and I'm sure a big portion of that can be put down to the lag that they're experiencing. But it does appear as though A's team is suffering a little bit as well. But Vex and Jay, and in the end, Vex and Jake were certainly not able to get out anywhere near as much as they would have liked, or should have, indeed. Very few opportunities were being created by them, and that was very apparent in that second half. The prevent was just top notch from Balakwa and Pat, and indeed A and Diggs, whenever they need to fill in as well, felt as though they were way more comfortable on OD. Anytime A got out, it looked like there could have been great capping opportunity. Anytime Vex, Jay, or the Captors got out, it still felt like that was a mountain to climb to get past the OD. So many times A and Diggs were just in the perfect position to shut that down. Whether that's due to communication or due to just general knowledge of this map and their positioning on OD, I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, some significant issues for the Captors to be sorting out after a good start in week 1 with a draw and a win over highly favoured Nuggets in Paris team. Turns out Captors not able to stand up to the test of the A team this week.
Yeah, the Vex and Jake combo, I know, I'm sure they haven't really scrimmed much because this trade only did come through 2 days ago, I'm pretty sure. So they wouldn't have had much of a chance to scrim together. I think Jake's was left a little blindsided by the trade. But yeah, hopefully Jay is able to come back in time where they do have a bit more synergy on offense together with Vex and himself. And they might be able to produce something more on Willow, which is probably a bit more favored towards the offender.
Yes,
allowing
certainly.
offenders to get out of base relatively easily and getting to the other side of the map in 3 seconds less. It's very fast paced.
It is, and I think it's something that will certainly benefit the Captors, obviously provided all things are equal, with the discussion with the lag that everyone's experiencing. But certainly something that would definitely favor the Captors. I think that Balakwa and Pat, very, very good when it comes to prevent, but Vex and Jay, I would be backing them to be able to utilize their skills, or Jake if he's there, in the chase. I don't think Balakwa and Pat are as strong when it comes to the chase compared to their in-base defense. So, and Willow is a map that makes it rather difficult to keep the flag in base, as you said. So a lot of it comes down to your general positioning and understanding of the chokes on the map, and trying to ensure that you have control over those middle areas, the middle elements with the boost there. So yeah, hopefully a little more joy for the Captors offense, but likewise, not any less scary having A and Diggs on the other side consistently, getting free grabs as opposed to having to work for theirs. In that second half, the hold numbers were pretty even as far as I'm aware. Definitely felt that way as well. Felt as though A and Diggs were getting out far less. Vin and Doku really sorted out their defensive issues for the most part. But once again, pup control was all going the A team, and that's becoming rather apparent in terms of one of the things that the Captors really need to try and take control of. Obviously, with 2 pups instead of 3, should make their contests a little bit easier. So we'll see if they're able to make use of the map that's maybe a bit more suited towards their team.
Yeah. Hopefully, I imagine both teams this week would have actually scrimmed Willow a fair bit more than Transilio, just because Willow has never been played in OLTP before. It's been played in TPM a little bit over the last couple of months, so people do have a bit of an understanding of the map. But yeah, it's hopefully, yeah, both teams scrimmed it more. Vex and not Vex, Vin and Doku, hopefully they have a fairly good understanding of how defense should play on this, and Vex and Jay might have a couple of strategies up their sleeve on offense to give them the one-up over Bell and Pat, who might have slept on this map a little bit. but I imagine that both teams should be well versed on this. Still expecting the A team to have the advantage in this one though, especially how Diggs and A were so dominant in that Chancelio game for the first 12 or so minutes of that game. They were so solid, and it looks like we're jumping in.
We are. Bit of a test run, at the very least. But,
Okay.
hopefully with good results. We'll use this time to transition into the ASMR portion of our stream tonight with the first metal water bottle drinking. I'm not actually going to do that. That sounds really weird. I'm not into that.
3,
Ah.
2, 1.
Yeah, they're just.
Looks like not only are we having server issues through to Diameter, we're also having server issues on the Discord as well. I believe this was an issue last night, from my understanding.
If you can hear me,
Hi,
Hello,
Headshot.
put the game on stream.
There's no game.
Ah,
They're just
updated.
test pinging. Test pinging? Ping testing.
Please don't question our ability. Well,
Look, I made the same mistake before. I didn't want you to do the same thing as I've done.
Looks like it'll be a couple of minutes for each team to set up another voice channel for them to talk to each other in. There was still issues. Yeah, last night there were issues with the voice channels, so we had to. I think our team in the end we made a private just DM group call or whatever, and that seemed to fix the issue. Yeah. Yeah, Singapore server did the trick in the end. Yeah. Hopefully this doesn't take too long. Alfia, there's a bit of a request here from A that he hopes you're talking about Nuga's OnlyFans. But I guess it really hasn't come topic of conversation.
it hasn't yet.
It might be now, just because I brought it up.
Whether or not it should be is also a huge question mark that I have over this. For anyone that's not aware, Nuga has really been hyping up his OnlyFans in the group chat of the game, but has readily also admitted that there is no content on the website. So if anyone's looking to subscribe, I would encourage you to second guess that until there is some consistent content, because we don't want to be spending our money on nothing, especially in this economic climate. And really want to try and play it safe and make sure that people like Nuga are not getting our money for nothing.
He might start uploading some videos of some absolutely dirty snipes, maybe. Who knows? It's really... 4-finger bots. Oh, that is... Oh, you reminded me that he plays with 4 fingers. How screwed is that?
It's a bit weird. I mean, purely to try and understand what goes into that man's mind, I would get a subscription. If, that sort of information is provided.
I don't think... I've tried for half a second using 4 fingers, and it does not feel comfortable. I will not tell you which 4 fingers he uses, but I'm sure you can try and figure that one out for yourself.
Maybe
Shouldn't
it's like
be too
one,
hard.
two. Maybe it's like 1, 2, 3, 4. Is he key mapped? Like changed it? You know, like
Oh,
I could comfortably put 4 fingers on 1, 2, 3, 4 on arrow keys. No hope, but yeah, I don't know. Weird bloke. Weird bloke. We all knew that. Nothing new.
Weird bloke, but he's scarily good at defense, and maybe that's the new strategy. If you just want to start gunning people down, the 4-finger defense is the way to go.
Let's be careful with those sorts of phrases, I think.
Oops.
All right, the game is starting. If anyone has any issues with the discussions going on, or indeed the stream, please let us know in chat, or you can write to us at PO Box 7800. I think that's the Centrelink PO Box. I don't know.
2, 1.
Anyway, let the government know that you're unhappy with Acti's stream if you are, or if you're happy. You know, I'm sure the government wants some positive responses as well. The reason for the bullshit talk at the moment is the fact that we are going back to group yet again. Still some more issues that we're trying to sort out. We do apologize for the inconvenience and the hassle going around at the moment. Seems to be a regular issue.
So good thing there's no drinking game tonight. Because I think a lot of people will be a few drinks in by now. I know it is a Monday night. It's probably not the greatest night to be drinking. But if it's water, perfectly fine.
Listen, if it's getting them through this absolute mire of a night, then we encourage good health, but also whatever keeps you sane. Is mental health very important. So
that is true. Who do you think's gonna be the standout performer this match? Just pick one person, just one.
Alamir, once again. However, I think there's a caveat to that, in that whenever A does well, it's not really seen as though him being a standout player, because it's just something that we more or less come to expect. But yeah, he in that first half in the Transfilo game, I think he had at least 3, if not the 4 first caps for his team, and Diggs playing that support role quite well for him. But LMO is just a level above, and something that Vin and Doku really struggled to deal with. So, you know, to answer your question, that response is probably $1.04 odds, if I'm being honest with you. But I like to keep my money. So, LMO.
Right.
What are you expecting? You're going for a specky Jake for?
You know, I was about
to
say Jake to have a standout half. He might just break through the defense like it's nothing, split everyone 50 times over, and then cap once.
Yeah, for his sake, I hope he does. Vex
start.
and Jake were working very well there together. Vex had a lovely block going and is able to sneak past Pat as well from the space that was created by Jake. Did have to rush in though, and so it looks like the regrab is going to struggle as Jake struggles to get around that little block there. Took him some time to get the right angle. Diggs using that bomb in base to die immediately, and A does the same.
Fairly solid grab from Jake. Gives you a nice handoff for Vex. Does get shut down though.
Yeah, already things are looking a little bit more equal, which is good to see. The complete dominance in the previous game was not so enjoyable. Vex losing the pup battle to Pat. Likewise, A winning it on the other side and immediately rushing and trying to get ahead of Vinsanity, who does well to take away the boost and is still in prime position. Very well defended from Vin. Great decision making from him and almost great moves as well. Not able to escape from Pat, and Jake was just a little bit flat-footed on a regrab, not moving immediately, and did get returned in the end for the first cap once again, and a very questionable grab from Dokugan. Puts him behind. Wasn't even going to play anti, but I suppose on this map, anti is probably not as effective. I don't know. How have you found that in your scrims, ITAG, for this week? Have you been playing anti-actively, or is it one where not so important?
I think as anti goes here, you do have to play more of a zoning anti rather than like the direct one-on-one.
Mhm.
Because like if you go for that one-on-one on the anti and they get that slide grab off you or the rub grab, it just becomes really hard to like they'll get ahead of you instantly and it becomes hard for you to catch back up. But then you still do have those 3 players ahead. But if you're able to zone them off, allow that second defender to come in. Oh,
Oh, Vin. Oh, Vin.
oh.
Get out of it, mate. Absolutely dominant performance from the big Kiwi, killing 3 people on the way and killing the important tag pro that was on O. As I say that, though, he's going to let Pat out, and Vex is on the wrong side. Not sure what was going on there. No communication. He didn't try and reposition at all. Was very happy to sit on the backside. Didn't quite see the blocks from Pat, but Dokugan corralling Diggs. Balakwa doing the same, although a little less elegantly with Jake. And speaking of a lack of elegance, Jake has looking like he's got the same problems that Jay did, just going AFK for periods of the map.
He's just a wall hugger.
Yeah, I mean,
Loves his walls.
I support the walls too. Vex and Jake looking to grab, very ill-advised with a tag pro on O. That's you know, you can excuse all the mechanical issues in the world, but that's either poor communication from the defense or poor decision making from the offense. Probably not a mechanical issue at all, as we see Vex hit a double bomb stacks-esque, I would say. That's that combo in order to get the return and shut that down.
Yeah.
It looks like it might be a reset. Yeah, Dokugan getting baited away from that boost, and Balakwa showing his offensive ability at the moment until he runs into Dokugan again. Not going to make the same mistake twice. Could be a chance here for Vexation. They do have 2-on-3 blocks. He had a boost to use, couldn't use it very effectively, and opportunity goes lacking a little bit. But 3-1 and a much better start to this game. Vinsanity as well is going to get out and ahead of 4. Vex chooses not to bomb him away. Thankfully, would have expected that at this point with the way that they're playing. And Jake running into a spike could mean, and Dokugan running into a spike actually, 2 of them with Alameo, RB on flag, Vex getting bombed away and unfortunately not able to combo that boost back in time to grab the flag yet again. Vinsanity was blocked out well by Pat, I believe it was, and 4-2. So all that good work that just happened from Vin to get ahead of 4 was wasted by a couple of spikes and a couple of misplays from the Captors. And once again, just panic grabbing here. Is able to get out with a lack of button usage from Pat. Just wasn't really there. Was chasing the flag carrier as opposed to going to the button perhaps. But Balakwa did have him in tow, but wasn't to be. Dokugan and Vex looking to get this shutdown here on Pat. A does the same, and it's going to go the other way now. Ahead of 3 is Balakwa, strolling in for the 5th cap of the game as we reach 5 minutes into this first half.
See exactly how much faster pace this map plays. 7 caps in the first 5 minutes, and it's not like it's been exactly like hard fought. Sometimes there's just opportunities where offenders are just getting a really nice handoff to get past 2 or 3 like right off the bat, and then you got that 1-on-2 block in base. Jake, oh, lovely work.
Yeah, some great combo work there. That was brilliant offensive partnership from Vex and Jake. Vex was baiting the handoff, which Balakwa bought into, and Jake just used the space that was created. And speaking of using space, Vex, another bait onto that boost, and Pat misses the bomb. This could be another opportunity for Jake, and it could be in the space of about 30 seconds. Could have been all tied up. Vex has got to stay alive here. No, he doesn't anymore. Dokugan with a clutch snipe from behind, really redeeming the defensive stuff there, and we're back to 5-4 in a matter of seconds. Some solid OD is required here, however, and they do form the X in the end, which is well done. A looking to use this time to grab a pup, which he is going to lose to Vin despite having the position initially, and Dokugan wins the pup. Unfortunately for the Captors, they were both RBs, and Alamo looking to pressure once again. Does have the bomb usage, looking for some bit of help from Diggs as well. Dokugan and Vex looking to close him down. They do have 2 OD now, however, and a bit of anti. Yet another grab from Vex. Some questionable decisions still, I would claim, from the Captors. They are getting away with it for the moment as Dokugan comes in to save the day. Isn't able to get to the boost in time, and 2 shutdowns. Looks like it'll be a reset. But much better half now from the Captors. Jake and Vex doing very well on offense, and Vin and Doku coming in a little bit clutch. Still, the decision making I do question at times, but certainly up to a much better standard on Willow compared to where they were on Transilio. A, once again, setting up nice and early for this putt, wins it. It is an RB, however, unfortunately for him. And Dokugan's going to look to make use of this tag pro by grabbing. Does give Jake an opportunity, but doesn't look like anyone's going to be able to close down Alamo anytime soon, especially with Vin on regrab. And Jake, without his lead, is not going to be comfortable enough to call him off. Does run into a spike, and A is trying to force the matter here. Diggs did die, and that's probably a positive thing because it's put him in base, but it's not going to be enough. Vinsanity with the most amazing split you will probably see in the next month. I mean, that was against top majors players, just absolutely letting him out there, and he is clutched up. 5-5 is the score, 2 minutes remaining. We are still in the first half, but things have really heated up here, and Vinsanity putting the team on his back with that one. That was incredible.
That was an insane boost block from Vex to, I think he pushed Diggs into just a really favorable position for Vin to hit that split. It was lovely awareness from Vin to make sure he knew he had the space to hit it, and oh god, that was insane.
And well played by Vex. The Captors really picking their stuff up here against two tag pros. Was able to bait one of them into a grab and yet still put himself in a position to get the return. Vex, just as I was talking him up, decided not to contain when the tag pro would have been out by the time Pat got across the other side of the map, and Vex probably should have known that. Instead, he swipes a little too hard in trying to get the return. Should have really just played it patiently. And Vin not able to stay alive in that instance as well. Means we're back to 7-5 and A-Team yet again in control of this. And he's somehow hitting the spike there, but did allow Diggs to get out, although it looks like he's going to be shut down. Indeed he is. 1 minute remaining. 2-cap lead for the A-Team, but Captors certainly still in this game. And as we saw before, that 2-cap lead can disappear in the space of about 20 seconds with the offenders that the Captors have on the field at the moment. JL still missing, of course, but Jake is playing quite the part. Dokugan looking to hit a cross-map snipe. Can't quite hit it. Did hit a spike very well. That was dead on, but not the target. Jake electing not to use the boost. Does get below Balakwa there. A good line from him. Unfortunately, the OD was well positioned. And good communication there, obviously, from Balakwa, I imagine.
Yeah, I feel like so far this half, A-Team, their caps have come a lot easier than Captors. Captors having to do a lot of really strong individual plays or really strong team plays to get them into good positions to cap, where the A-Team were just getting out very, very easily, I think, and they had a fair bit of dominance with the flag. It is hard to get big hold numbers on this map because it's so, like, you're so close to the other base as soon as you get out, so you're going to get returned relatively quickly. But they held their regrab train fairly well, and then when resets came, Captors were able to turn it around, get some caps back. Lovely first half though.
Yeah, it wasn't a just. It was very exciting. Had a couple of brilliant caps. I do agree with you on the assessment of A-Team's caps coming much easier. Certainly, Captors fighting for every inch there with the Vinsanity. You know, the Vinsanity Duke was absolutely immense, but it definitely felt, and we saw it right towards the end there with the Diggs bomb, where he was just able to get out for free, essentially with his bomb, who bombed the defenders away and then able to get a free grab for himself. I mean, that sort of stuff really is not good to see, and it didn't seem to happen too much on the other side. Balakwa and Pat feeling more comfortable, or perhaps Vex and Jake not necessarily playing for those sorts of plays with their own bomb usage and element usage, but hopefully it looks like JL is coming back in to finish the half. A little unfair on Jake. Did play relatively well. Did get a cap as well. I think they might be trying to decide it within their team at the moment, but either way, do have a game on our hands. Unlike the Transilio game, this one is far closer and looks to be anyone's game so far. You are still backing A's team to finish this one off, High Tag?
Yeah, I think so. And this might come across as a bit of a strange take, even though I guess the offensive difference between Jay and Jake, there's probably smarter decision making from the likes of Jay, but I think the aggressive offensive nature of Jake really lended itself to that map because it is easy to get grabs. And so he was like getting in there, getting that grab, getting out. And he had to work a bit for it, but it's a lot easier to do that on a map like this rather than a map like on Transilio or whatever, because it's much more defensive orientated, the way that the base is, I guess, positioned and where the elements are in base.
Yeah, I do think that's an interesting take. I think as well, it almost looks as though there was cohesion or a bit of understanding from Vex and Jake. There are a few instances there where things that you probably wouldn't be able to communicate, you sort of need to just know. It looked like they were hitting really, really well. There was Vex that was holding a block on Pat, I think it was, or Balakwa even, while Jake was getting a roll-off grab. A couple other instances where it was a nice handoff, and these sorts of things that either take a lot of chemistry to normally pick up. We're not seeing that from Vex and Jay, at least not this week. But we were seeing it when Jake came in, despite the fact that, to my understanding, Vex and Jake have not really played with each other before. So it is interesting to see that. Hopefully, JL has sorted out his ping issues, and maybe perhaps the reason we weren't seeing it earlier was due to that. He is one of the top offenders in the league, so hopefully he can make something of it. And with Jay coming in, a better lineup. If it was 7-5 with Jake and replace Jake with Jay, then you would expect it to be closer, if not maybe even in the Captors' favor for this half. And it looks like they are working well together. A nice little combo with Vex baiting the handoff off the bomb, and some nice blocks initially. Vex was just a little too slow, and the OD had about a half a second to set up in a better position. Couldn't rush in at the time that he wanted to. But they do have early control over this. A little greedy to go for that pup, however, with that boost. Can't tell who that was. Dokugan does save the day. Some absolutely clutch play from him in order to stop the cap and keep the lead at 2 for the moment. Vex just missing the return on digs there. But Dokugan's hold, which is still going, mind you, is really done the Captors a massive favor, as they can look to get ahead, and Vin can look to equalize the position as well. Should get the return on digs soon enough if Jay can push this. Looks like nothing's coming the other side either. Vin just missing the anti means it's going to be on Vex to stay alive, who tries to hit a very ambitious snipe underneath Pat, who was sitting on the button. And some bomb blocks from Diggs and A. Don't really get anything from it.
Might just hold for the next round of pups now. Maybe drag some defenders out and push in when there's only one in base, which it looks like he might do now.
Yeah, and the bait has not necessarily worked out for them. That's a good kiss from Balakwa. It's going to mean that Balakwa is spawning in base with the tag pro, and a bit of help gets him a double kill, but some almost top-notch play from Vin, who was looking to clutch up once again with an incredible bomb path. Just unfortunately ran into the regrabber, and he was in a stay alive situation. So 3 caps is the lead now. Looks like Jake was the talisman that the Captors needed.
There's still plenty of time left in this half, though, to make up a 3 cap difference. Doesn't take long to cap on this map.
No, we've already seen that unfold in the first half. Jay looking to use that bomb. Vex is going to try and use the other one as well. A little more success for Vex, and a double grab from A and Diggs. Very ill-advised was the Diggs grab in the end. Vex probably needs to play this a little bit faster. Just couldn't get the right angle. Dokugan could not crawl. Oh, Jesus. Right, well, not much to say about that one. Let that play out. Double tag pro lead is absolutely nothing for Jay or Dokugan indeed, and Jay almost getting the little bounce off the 45. That was beautiful from him. Staying alive for far too long is Jay. Of course, commentator's curse always present, but a nice Vex bomb will save the Captors from any hassle, and some nice anti from Jay here as well. I do like this decision, but relying on Dokugan to get the solo. Does get it eventually, a little too late, but shutting down Diggs here. Is going to be on Vin to make a play. He does stay alive long enough to give himself some position, but the defense, once again, as we come to expect at this point from Balakwa and Pat, and indeed the OD, was top-notch from the A-team, and a couple of flaccid will reset us just ahead of Pups. 3 caps still is the lead. Vex deciding to just waltz in and bomb straight out and put Balakwa and A-team under immense pressure, although pressure is going to be swinging back the other way now. A-team and A Lameo did get an RB on flag, completely uncontested, undefused. It's a very free base in the end as everyone was contesting Pups. And Jay greeting for a tag on Pat means that there was no protection for the flag carrier. Jay, however, not protecting the enemy team flag carrier, getting a nice return, but still well done from the A-team to shut that down. Some nice anti in the end. A lot more free flowing, it seems, than certainly than Transilio, but this lots of hold from both teams. Realistically, there's a lot more instances where both teams are out and looking for that reset together. So it's good to see. Makes for things to be a little more interesting. Diggs had the timer on that boost somehow. Might want to check this man's blinkies. And Vex giving him the tag pro for free as well. It's going to mean JL is required to stay alive, and a bomb from Balak was going to push him into a spike. Does also push Diggs into a spike though, which means that the capping opportunity is going to be coming a little bit later, but it does still eventually come as A gets a solo there. Dokugan not able to get out. Probably would have been a cap in the end if he did. Unfortunately, just missed a flag tile by a quarter of a tile.
Just some more pup dominance from the A-team. The last 2 rounds have had 4 tag pros, which is quite insane. Very, very lucky. But it's also really good by them to make sure that they've got control of these power-ups and using them well.
Yeah, they are using well. Seems as though every time I see a tag pro for the A-team, there's about 80% chance there's going to be a cap coming from it. And just really, really playing it well. Diggs, known to be winning his pup battles very well as well. And Alameo's no slouch. Diggs does lose that one to Vin, and it could be an all-crucial one, as they do have a 2-on-1 situation to close down Diggs, who goes for the split, but newsflash, Diggs is not as good as Vinsanity, and couldn't hit the split, unfortunately, in that time. And Vin's looking to get a second cap out of this. Does get 1, 2 kills in the end, but kills are no good when your own FC dies, and that's a full reset. 3 caps is the deficit at the moment. And some interesting 3D there from Vex in order to just cover for that bomb. Would have been nice if they made that decision at any of the previous 9 caps.
Oh, nice bomb from Jay.
Brilliant stuff. The OD, though, you can see that. And if you go and watch that back, you can see immediately the call and the communication, which I'm not seeing this sort of effect coming through for the Captors. Immediately, A and Diggs were in the right position and moved their ball into the correct angle in order to ensure that they were in the right position for the OD. You know, both of them immediately knew the flag carrier was coming top and what boost they were using, and made it really, really difficult for the Captors to do much with it. Vin looking to do something with yet another tag pro. Did get a cap off the previous one. Looking to lead Vex in. Only a few seconds left on it, I believe. And Diggs looks like he'll stay alive against the chase of Dokugun and Jay, who have come off Re for this. So they're investing a lot into this. And the death on the other side means that Alameo is now going to have an opportunity. JL is in a stay alive situation, runs into a corner and stays in the corner, which gives an easy return for Diggs. But A had to backtrack with the use of that bomb. 2 minutes remaining. Still a 3 cap deficit. And A throwing Jay for a loop there. Normally it's Jay doing that to players, but getting a taste of his own medicine.
Just some really good flag holding now in these last 2 minutes, and looks like Pat's just going to walk in for another easy cap.
Yeah, it was a very, very, I suppose, poor cohesion from, I think it was Jay and Vex, the 2 offenders. I was definitely Jay. I'm not sure who the second person was, but both of them moved to the bottom, and one sat on the bomb and the other one sat essentially on that little island in the base as well. No one's covering the top boost, and you know, if you get all the way to that point in the map, you know that Pat's on the bomb. Should be a very, very simple decision for someone to be covering that top lane, but not to be. Gave him a very free out, which Pat took with class, of course. But once again, as we saw on Transilio, just freebies being given to the A team. Certainly taking their chance as well, but not being given a challenge in doing so.
I'm fairly certain the comms from A team defense have been really solid. As you said earlier, when Jay bombed out top, the OD was able to rotate instantly, and I think that's down to Pat. His communication skills are very, very strong. Very fast, very clear. Makes it very easy for your teammates to understand what the situation is and what the ideal choice is to make in that situation. Bit of a failed Tag Pro lead attempt there from Captors in the last minute.
Yeah, just couldn't get around Balakwa with that juke juice. Was able to hold his position pretty well. Bit forceful there from JL, boosting his own defenders and then himself into the enemy team. Vex looking to make something of these last 15 seconds, but Pat and A on OD far too solid. And for Caps, it looks like it will finish as we have a double reset. Once again, A team coming out with the win, the sweep indeed for them. And an absolute killer half, or killer game rather, on Transilio. Ended up a little poor in the end with, obviously a lot of lag issues for both teams, in particular for the Captors. So not really a fan of seeing that and having the wins go that way, but they were 5-0 up before that occurred. And this game on Willow, far closer, certainly in the first half. Looks like A team sort of slowed it down in that second half, just sort of tried to gain their control. The pups once again were in their favor, which I think was the case throughout all halves tonight. Really, really dominant, and just that defensive duo in Balakwa and Pat were really able to lock it down tonight. And yeah, as you predicted, ITAG, A team come out with a very solid win.
Yeah, I'm gonna go back to this point, which I didn't think was a great take, but I think the transition from Jake to Jay on offense might have lent itself partially to the lower scoring half, just because Jay plays a lot more safe as an offender rather than aggressively as Jake does, and that might have been the cohesion where Vex and Jay are both quite they play quite safe as an offensive pairing, where you might need to have one of each to try and get a good combination together to create opportunities to get out of base and give yourself chances to cap, obviously.
Okay, we've just been informed by Actor. I'm not sure if are you on the stream, Actor? You're still muted. Yeah. So Captors got 5 tag pros out of their 7 pups in that second half. A's team got 7 out of 11, was it? Of their pups as tag pros. So plenty of tag pros, which we did see, but A's team able to put them to a little bit better use than the Captors did. We are joined in the commentary box by Vexation. How are you, Vex?
Hey, how you going?
Commiserations on that. It was a bit of a dodgy game on Transilio. It didn't really go your way, and I understand that there are a lot of lag issues as well. But Willow looked a lot better. Are there any positives to take from that Willow game there?
No, not really. We had a game plan that it never really worked. I think the only thing that we had going for us was when we were grabbing while pups were up. But even then, their ability to close us down constantly around the mid area was pretty scary, to be honest. While holding the flag, so
Yeah, it looked as though certainly on Transilio, but you guys sort of struggled to get out on offense. Seems like the defense was playing quite well with Balakwa and Pat, but certainly wasn't aided by your own defense, who were really struggling to keep A and Diggs in base. Did you feel as though you're a little hamstrung on the grabs, or was there anything that you could sort of see that was working against Balakwa and Pat, or were you just sort of on the back foot the entire game on Transilio?
I think we were trying to rely too much on our mechanics on offense to get out, and we couldn't structure anything, especially with the mess that was going on in terms of our communication and the lag. Because we couldn't set anything up. It was like Bell and Pat just prevent, like their solo prevent is as I've always rated, and was hoping that when we can get out of base that we could use our mechanics to take advantage of what they lack, and that didn't. We couldn't get out. They were too strong, and we couldn't gather ourselves to figure out what was going wrong in terms of getting out of base. And they, props to them, they did really well.
Yeah, and certainly, they obviously, as you said, credit to them. But I think given the circumstances with all the lag as well, and the communication issues, I imagine it would have been difficult to keep your heads on straight and try and figure out what it is that you might have been able to change in order to make anything happen. Thanks for joining the box as well. Balakwa is with us.
Hey.
A very strong performance yet again from yourself and realistically the entire team. Looking like a very, very solid team across the board, which, going into the season, you probably would have been able to pick out a player or two that are standout players, but it certainly doesn't seem that way. Everyone on the team has stepped up to an incredible level, which credit to you and your team for doing that. Your thoughts on tonight's game, and in particular on the Willow game, which was much closer than Transilio?
Yeah, we were pretty happy with Transilio game, despite the kind of ping circumstances, which seemed pretty rough, especially for Jay, on the Captors, but also Pat had to like DC a few times during the game.
Yeah.
Not very disappointed in the Willow game. We feel like we played really sloppy, especially the first half, which may have been a little bit. I know I was probably kind of when Jake was subbing in, just that kind of mental losing concentration a bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, like we were kind of pretty disappointed with that, which is why we actually didn't go into your room to say GG's, Vex. So sorry about that.
It's okay. The Discord's shit anyway.
But yeah, lag issues aside, I feel like we played well on Transilio and just lost concentration a bit on Willow. It's obviously a hard map. Like if they can boost out past 2 really quickly, if they get opportunities.
Yeah.
And we messed up on OD a bit, but yeah, overall, still pretty happy with the team. I'm really happy to be playing with Pat. Like he's putting a lot of time in and kind of giving me more direction as a defensive partner. Mentoring me a bit, I guess you could say.
Yeah,
Mentoring
that's awesome.
the mentor. Yeah.
That's something else that we noticed, and this will come down to realistically a lot of the players in your team. I think are well known for this, but your puck control was just absolutely on point tonight. I think looking at the stats, I don't have them in front of me, but I'm pretty sure that you guys won every half, and some of them were very handedly. Yeah. So your puck control, and not just I suppose your control, but certainly your usage of them were very, very, very solid. Did you guys put a big focus on controlling those pups, or was that just something that seems rather natural for you guys?
I think me and Pat are very confident, like just getting that 2v1 in base. I think we got a bit sloppy on Willow where the Captors caught us off guard when they were trying to grab during pubs.
Yep.
But so I think we lapsed a bit there. But I think also credit to A and Diggs, they were getting out so often that I think we often ended up getting their base pup on Transilio. And yeah, A's really good at fighting pups. Pat's really good. Diggs really good. But yeah.
Yeah, congratulations once again. Very well played. That does put you and your team on top of the standings for the moment at the very least. And Captors unfortunately not able to improve their strong start to the season. But hopefully, the servers can sort of fix themselves up. We do apologize to the viewers if anyone was experiencing issues. I know that the streamer was having some of the issues as well. So we apologize for that. But thank you for joining us. Nonetheless, thank you, Balakwa, Vex, and both teams for playing a rather good game, I would say. Thank you, iTag, for joining us in the commentary as well.
Thanks for
any final words, mate?
Go Tag Pro. Mine is tomorrow night. Don't forget. Straight line squad. and Ball Guys tomorrow night, as well as Caparoos and Thinking Caps. Yep.
Thank
Pretty
you,
sure that's it.
Andy, for streaming and Alfie for commentating.
Yes, thank you.
Great stuff.